Welcome to Study Time, a televised home learning program produced by Rwanda Education Board.
Hello students, a very strong welcome to the TV learning program. As usual, I'm teacher Herbert, and I will be taking you through the biology of Senior 2, Unit 10. And the unit is human, it is excretion in human. And this lesson 1, we're going to talk about excretion in human. So, students, I think you can get your books and a notebook and pens, and we start our lesson. So, the lesson of today is concerning about excretion in human. And now, let's have the learning objectives. After studying this unit, every student should be able to define and explain the need of excretion. Why do we need excretion? And the definition of excretion. So the objective number 2 is to describe the role of the liver in the excretion. So let's start our lesson of today, able to define excretion and able to understand why do we need excretion, and also able to know the role of the liver as far as excretion is concerned. So, before I start a lesson, let's first get something that we are used to see, and most of these things that we are used to see, you have the diagrams, and I can say these diagrams, they are very clear. We have this diagram, we have cars. We have car number 1, we have car number 2. And we see behind this car, there's some kind of fumes that they are releasing from their exhaust pipes. So why do you think that this car is removing these fumes from their exhaust pipes? You should think about it. Then after thinking about it, we should be able to understand what is excretion. We say that we use fuels, for example, diesel and petrol, to run machines such as engines of the vehicles. These waste products produced by the running engines, look at these diagrams, because these running engines, they normally release these waste products from their exhaust pipes. So why do these cars have to remove these waste products from their pipes? Because if these waste products are not removed from their pipes, the question will be this: they will affect their metabolism. They will affect their running activities. So they need to remove these waste products so that they perform their functions effectively. So it means also the human also has to remove these waste products from their body, because these waste products affects our body metabolism. So as you can get from the vehicles, these vehicles, they are releasing some fumes, and that's why they are removing it from their pipes so that they should not affect their metabolism. So just as a vehicle removes waste products that can damage their engines if they are left or if they accumulate, this human being also has to remove these waste products from their bodies. As the cars or the vehicles has to remove these fumes from their engines, that's why even human beings also need to remove these waste products from their body, because they affect the body metabolism. And this happens through the process. This removing of waste products of metabolism from the body, I mean removing of waste products of metabolism from the body, is referred to as excretion. So let's get a definition of excretion. Therefore, we can define excretion as the process by which an organism removes the waste product of metabolisms from their body. So the removing of waste products of metabolism from our body is referred to as excretion. All right? We can take that definition. So excretion refers to the removal of waste products waste products of metabolism from the body. If they are not removed, automatically they affect the body metabolism. So these waste products has to be removed from the body. Has to be removed from the body. So let's talk about through excretion, organisms control osmotic pressure. If I talk about osmotic pressure, because if osmotic pressure increases in our cells or in the fluid, in our body fluid, automatically it will affect the body metabolism. So through excretion, organisms can control what you call osmotic pressure. And it also enables them to promote what you call homeostasis. Talk about homeostasis, that is balancing the internal environment within an organism. So it has to do it in order to balance the internal environment within an organism. The balancing of the organism internal environment, I said it is homeostasis. So homeostasis, it refers to the maintenance of internal environment within an organism. Excretion is one of the main characteristics of living things. Students, I think all of you, we can make a refresh back of the work of Senior 1. In Senior 1, you mentioned almost 7 characteristics of living things, where excretion is also among all these characteristics of living things. So every living thing has to excrete, has to remove its waste product from its body, all right? So I said excretion is one of the main characteristics of living things. Every living cell carries life processes, which involves chemical reactions. Some of these reactions are complex materials such as chemical breakdown, and even other simple materials are used to make new compounds. They involve in what you call building processes and also breaking down processes. So in that process of excretion, it involves breaking large complex materials, and these are chemically broken down. And also it involves the building up simple materials that are used to make up some compounds, okay? That one is also involved what you call excretion. All these reactions are collectively, these reactions of breaking down and building up processes are referred to as metabolism. So if I try to highlight, all these reactions are collectively referred to as metabolism. And I said during metabolism, during body metabolism, waste products are formed, all right? Automatically, during the breaking down process, during the building process, making up some molecules, simple molecules, that one also involves what you call, there's also the release of what you call waste products. So these waste products, if it accumulates, if it comes to be in excess in our body, it has to be eliminated, all right? Because they will affect body activities, body reactions, all right? So if these waste products accumulates in the cells, or even in the surrounding, they can reach a very high concentration, which can affect normal cell functioning. Let me just give an example. If there is too much accumulation of carbon dioxide in the body cells, or accumulation of carbon dioxide in the blood, all right? What will happen? It will become to be too much of excess of carbon dioxide can become toxic and can affect the functioning of the cells, all right? So it means that the body has to do by all means to eliminate the excessive carbon dioxide so that once oxygen comes, it will get a space for loading within hemoglobin, all right? So I said, even in surrounding, they can reach a very high concentrations, which affects the normal cell functionings and could even kill cells. Not only affecting the cell functioning, it can also kill the cells. It can also make some cells to die. Let me just give an example. If the number of red blood cells die, automatically the transport of oxygen in the body will be very less. So it means that this waste product has to be eliminated from our body because either they can affect the body cell functioning, also they can also make the cells die. Example, let's have an example of carbon dioxide is a byproduct of respiration. Once it accumulates in our body, it will normally combine with the hemoglobin and forms what you call carboxyhemoglobin, which is not healthy of our body. We said the body has no mechanism of storing excess amino acids. Let me say there is also accumulation of too much amino acids in our body. And the body has no mechanism of storing that excess amino acids in our body. How does this, that the body will just go that process of just trying to eliminate excess amino acids that are there, that has been taken to the liver? So the liver has to do the function of what you call deamination. Deamination is the process of breaking down excessive amino acids and are going to be released out of the body, and that is converting it into ammonia. So to urea, that is breaking down, the process is referred to as, the process of breaking down excessive proteins in the body is referred to as deamination. To urea and even to form what you call glycogen. And that glycogen can just be stored in the body, in the liver, specifically in organ which is called the liver, which could be converted back into glucose, which can just be used by the body in form of cell respiration and in form of energy production. So small amount of uric acids are also formed from the breakdown of proteins. Urea and uric acids these are comprises what you call nitrogenous waste products, which are excreted from the body through the urine. So these nitrogenous waste product, I'm talking about the urea and even the uric acids, they have to be excreted from the body through the urine, all right? So I was trying to mention about the process of what you call deamination, which is normally done by the liver as one of the functions of how excess amino acid can be, amino acid can just be converted into urea and as well as the glycogen. Many other reactions in the cells also produce byproducts that could be toxic. Also, there are very many reactions in the cell which can produce byproducts. And these byproducts, that when they are produced in the cells, they can become more toxic. Therefore, it is necessary that these waste products can be eliminated from cells. Because if they are toxic to the cells, they can affect the functioning of the cells and eventually can cause also the cells to die. So we try to avoid the waste product accumulation in the body cells. So they have to be removed because once the level of toxic substance are very high, eventually it can lead into death and also can also cause the death of some of the cells and even cause what you call a malfunctioning of the cell, poor functioning of the cells. So these waste products, accumulation of these waste products, it has to be eliminated. And I said the process of eliminating the waste product from the body is referred to as excretion. Let me have a table. We have the role of we're going to see the role of the liver in excretion. The table below summarizes excreted organs and their waste products in human being respectively. Here I have excreted organ. Here I have excreted product. So this is an organ that is responsible for removing those waste products from the body. And we have the product which is going to be produced by that excreted organ. So the table is here. We have organs, excreted organ. We have the skin, we have the kidney, we have the lungs, as well as the liver. So let's start with the skin. What are the excreted products of the skin? We have urea, we have lactic acid, excess salts, and excess water in the form of sweat. I know some of you, when there's too much water, how can just be balanced, or how can just be removed from the body? You can just remove it in form of sweat. And you talk about lactic acid and etc. Let's talk about the kidney. The kidney is also has excreted products, which is excess salts, excess water, and even nitrogenous waste product in form of urine. So urine, these waste products are passing through the body, are going to be removed from the body in form of urine. They can pass through the urine. We have the lungs. What does the lungs remove as waste product? We have carbon dioxide, excess water in form of vapor, and etc. We have the liver. So the liver also excretes a waste product, excretory product of the river, is the biopigments. We have biopigments, nitrogenous compounds such as ammonia, urea, uric acid, and even this trimethylene oxide. These are the products these are the waste excretory products that are excreted by the river. So we have excretory organs and their respective products which are going to be excreted from these excretory organs. Let's have, of course, the fact the river has very many functions. I told you in the lesson we're going to discuss about the functions of the river. What does the river do in order to do excretion or to do what you call homeostasis, all right? A constant, I said this to include maintenance of a constant internal environment. The river is the second largest organ in the body, in the environment that's supposed to be in homeostasis, and in the body after the skin, because the skin is supposed to be the first. But internally, the river is the largest organ. Then externally, the skin is the largest one. So it plays the role of excretion. The excretory functions of a very important role in the body, it is the river as described below. This metabolism I'm going to talk about as a center of how it does the function of excretion. Let's go through and have the diagram of the river and where it is located. We have the diagram, the location of the river in the body. Automatically, the river is located, if you try to check on your side, the river is located not on the left-hand side, it is located on the right-hand side of our body. So in the right-hand side, that's where the river is located, and it has very many parts that are associated, or what we call accessory organs that are associated with the river. We have the gallbladder, which stores bile. And I remember one of the functions of bile is emulsification of fats, breaking large droplets of fat into small droplets of fats. We also have the pancreas, and you know pancreas plays very many functions. It produces what you call a pancreatic juice. It also produces some hormones that are responsible for balancing the amount of glucose in our body. So we have the ileum. These are accessory organs that are normally associated with the organ which is called the liver. So let's talk about the functions of the liver. We have very many functions of the liver. I will try to highlight them and then we discuss them. We have functions of the liver. Functions of the liver. I will just try to talk about functions of liver. What does liver do in our body? It has very many functions. I'm going to discuss with you the functions of the liver. Number one is the deamination. Student, I said the deamination is the process of breaking down excessive proteins into urea and even glycogen, which is going to be stored in the liver. So excessive amino acids or proteins cannot be stored in the body. There's no way how this excessive protein can just be stored in the body. But the liver does the function of breaking it down. And after breaking it down, it is going to be released as in form of urea and even the glycogen. And the glycogen, you know, it is going to be stored in the liver, which is going to be used for giving us energy, or is going to be used as a source of energy. So the body cannot store proteins or amino acids. Specifically, here you can say the body cannot store excessive proteins or amino acids. So how does the body how will the body try to strike a balance of that excessive amino acids that are found in our body? Take an example, you have taken a dietary food, a food that contains more proteins. Example like beans, take an example like fish, like eggs. You're ending up having maybe more excessive proteins in our body. And how will the body try to strike a balance of that excessive proteins? It is going to be done by the liver, where the excessive proteins or amino acids are going to be broken down into the glycogen and urea, and these that are nitrogenous waste products are going to be eliminated from the body through the urine in the kidney. So Let's talk about this. I said this is because they break down, form toxic substances in the body. These amino acids are the end product of proteins, digestion. Surplus of amino acids are broken down in the liver in the process what you call deamination. These surplus of these amino acids, all right, excessive amino acids are going to be broken down by the liver, and after converting them into urea and glycogen, and after the liver is able to store the glycogen, which can just be used during the time when the body lacks glucose, all right? When the body lacks glucose, it will be able to use the other converted excessive proteins or amino acid, and which is going to be used by the body to generate energy source. I have another one which is called detoxification. The liver also does the function of detoxification. Toxic substances has to be removed from the liver. I said the liver removes harmful substances. If I say harmful substances, they can just be drugs, they can be hormones from the blood. These toxic substances are drugs. You can take drugs and they become too much in your body. The liver has to do the function of removing those drugs from the body by doing what you call detoxification, okay? From the blood, I talked about drugs and even excessive hormones in the liver, as well as within the liver, these substances are converted into inactive form or less dangerous form. If I say they become inactive, they change them from not becoming too much active, they change them into inactive, and eventually, which would be less harmful to our body or less dangerous to our body. We have elimination of hemoglobin. I talk about hemoglobin. These are red pigments that are found in blood. Once they get the aging of this hemoglobin in the body, and once they are aging and they are getting old, automatically it has to be removed from the body. And that process of removing this hemoglobin from the body is also done by the liver. All right? Hemoglobin from old, worn out red blood cells is broken down by the liver cells into pigments, and is going to be passing through the body and eliminated from the body as a process of what we call elimination or excretion, where these waste products are going to be discharged through the urine, and even in others. Take an example, like beer pigments are going to be passed through the feces as waste products, okay? So elimination of these, breaking down of these worn out hemoglobin or these red blood cells that is as a result of aging, that are no longer functioning, is also done by the liver. So these pigments are further broken down and eliminated as in form of bile pigments, which is going to be passed through as a waste product, giving urine its characteristic yellow color. So the urine, it must be, most of the urine that we pass on day by day, it is yellowish in color. And what makes it to be yellowish in color? The thing that makes the urine to be yellowish in color, it is the presence of what we call the bile. These bile are the product of being broken down. After being broken down, they're going to be released into the urine as a waste product, all right? And that makes our urine to be yellowish in color. We have another one which is called elimination of what we call sex hormones and cholesterol. We know that sex hormones has to be released from our body, because once these sex hormones are manufactured in our reproductive systems or in our reproductive organs, if they are stored in the epididymis for temporary storage, or in the ovaries, they have to be removed from the body. Because how will it be removed from the body? It is done by the liver. Excessive cholesterol in our body can cause poor functioning or malfunctioning of our body, because cholesterol are very dangerous. They can cause very many diseases. Take an example, they can cause coronary heart disease. They can cause stroke. So this cholesterol not to accumulate in our body and affect the body metabolism, it has to be eliminated by the liver. So the liver does a function of elimination of sex hormones and as well as the cholesterol. After sex hormones have performed their functions, some are modified chemically by the liver. So these sex hormone can just be modified, can just be changed by the liver, and others sent to the kidney for renal, what you call renal excretion, where others are expelled in bile. So these that are not used by the body are going to be expelled, are going to be removed from the body as a waste product. That is what we're talking about, what you call excretion. And I think we have discussed deeply, and we have talked about it almost. There are other major functions of the liver, but I made almost like 3 functions of the liver. If we have to go back through, that is, we have almost like 4. I said number 1 is the deamination, where excessive protein has to be broken down and converted into glycogen and urea, where it has to be removed from the body. Number 2, I talked about detoxification, where these toxic substances, harmful substances, take an example like drugs and hormones, has to be removed from the body because they can affect the functioning of body cells. Also, not only that, they can also make the cells to die. So the liver has to perform a function of doing what you call detoxification. Good, detoxification, all right? We have elimination of hemoglobin. I said worn out red blood cells are broken down by the liver into the pigments. And after they go into the pigments, they are released out as a waste product. The last one I talked about, elimination of sex hormones and cholesterol. These sex hormones, they can affect the functioning of the cells. So if the cells are not functioning properly, it can affect the body metabolism, building up processes and making up processes. So it means that they have to be eliminated in that process. So student, I think let me just leave you with a lesson assignment. And I'm going to leave you with 2 numbers. Number one, undigested and indigestible waste products are not considered as excretory products. You explain why indigestible and indigestible and undigestible are not considered as waste products. Number 2, copy and fill the blank space in the pages that follows. 1, excretion involves the removal of or products from the body. Urea is a product by the dash. During dash, where carbon dioxide is a waste product of dash, nitrogenous waste product are excreted by dash. The whale carbon dioxide is excreted by dash. So student, you will go through that home assignment. Thank you very much for listening and active participation. Enjoy the rest of the day and see you next time.